Welcome to the 12 Report with Blessings Mosugu, and these are the headlines. U.S. urged to aid Nigeria's security efforts, not issue threats. Police deploy helicopters, drones as INEC vows credible poll in Anambra. Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu Hassan sworn in as opposition alleges mass killings. And as usual, we have our reporters stationed in different parts of the country. Joshua Imarai, Sagir Ibrahim and Blessing Akibe are joining from Abuja, while Israel Iferobo joined from Lagos. We've got the details in a moment. Now, we start by informing you that the former Kano State Governor and 2023 NNPP presidential candidate Rabiu Kwankwaso has urged the United States to support Nigeria with technology and intelligence to tackle insecurity rather than making statements that could inflame divisions. In a post on his X handle on Sunday night, Kwankwaso said, Nigeria's security challenges demand innovation and collaboration, not external pressure. He stressed that access to modern surveillance systems, intelligence sharing networks, and advanced defense tools would go further in addressing terrorism and banditry. Kwankwaso also warned that framing Nigeria's crisis through a religious lens could deepen existing tensions and undermine efforts to build national unity. Meanwhile, Nigeria's Social Democratic Party has urged the U.S. President Donald Trump against any form of interference in Nigeria's internal affairs under what it described as a guise of protecting religious freedom. In a statement on Monday, SDP National Publicity Secretary Rufus Ayenigba acknowledged Nigeria's worsening insecurity, but stressed that the nation's sovereignty is non-negotiable. The statement follows Washington's recent designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern over alleged persecution of Christians, a move that has caused tense diplomatic relations. Now, the SDP urged the U.S. to offer military and intelligence support to help tackle terrorism and killings, rather than take actions that could threaten Nigeria's sovereignty. Let's head now to the conflict city, Kogi State, where troops of the 12th Brigade Nigerian Army, stationed at Forward Operating Base Oguma, have rescued 2 kidnapped victims and recovered the ransom intended for their release. This was made known in a statement signed by Lieutenant Hassan Abdullahi, Acting Assistant Director, Army Public Relations, 12th Brigade Nigerian Army. The rescue mission unfolded on November 2nd after troops received credible intelligence about kidnapping activities along the Itobe-Adumu-Ejule axis. Now, reports also indicated that relatives of the victims were attempting to deliver ransom to secure their freedom. Acting swiftly, the troop launched a patrol into Achigili Forest to intercept the bandits, which resulted to a firefight as troops overpowered the bandits with superior firepower, forcing them to abandon the 2 victims and flee into the forest with gunshot wounds. The sum of 3,800,000 naira intended as ransom was recovered and returned to the victims. Glad that was done. And now to electoral matters. The Independent National Electoral Commission says it is fully ready for the Anambra State governorship election scheduled for Saturday, the 8th of November 2025. INEC Chairman Professor Joash Amupiton assured that the Commission is committed to delivering a free, fair and credible process reflective of the people's will. He confirmed that all non-sensitive materials have been distributed and that voter accreditation systems are fully tested and ready. Meanwhile, the Anambra Police Command says it has deployed tactical teams, helicopters and drones to ensure maximum security across the state. Commissioner of the Police, Ikioye Orutugu, says the aerial surveillance will complement ground patrols to guarantee a peaceful and hitch-free election. Now, tensions flared in Lagos on Monday as residents of Oworonshoki community took to the streets to protest the ongoing and planned demolition of their homes. The protesters, carrying placards, did go all out, asking that the homes not be demolished and that they were not informed prior. What you see there is the live visuals of the demolition, and the residents are also protesting the demolition. We'll give you more details on that, but in the meantime, we go on a short break, and when we come back, we've got more stories. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. We're still talking politics. The crisis rocking the People's Democratic Party is taking a new twist as a new factional chairman has emerged. Earlier today, the new factional chairman, Abdurrahman Mohammed, while addressing journalists at this party's FCT office, says that he has agreed to serve as the acting chairman of the party following the suspension of Umar Damagum by a faction of the PDP. We're now joined by our correspondent, Joshua Imurai, who's live at the PDP national headquarters in Wadata Plaza. Joshua, what is the current situation there at the plaza?
Well, good afternoon to you, Blessings. I am currently live at the Wadata Plaza in the state of here in Abuja. And a while ago, some supporters of the new acting national chairman, that is the person, Mr. Mohammed, who was the vice chairman remote from just assumed office. We are currently at the national headquarters. Earlier, some of the supporters were crowded around this area. This place was a beehive of activity. Some of the supporters still came to support the new acting national chairman, that's the person of Abdurrahman Mohammed. Security officials are here on ground to ensure that there is sanity, law, and order. As you can see, the entire place is deserted, but it was not like this a while ago. This place was filled with, as you can see, there are some of the supporters now still cheering for the acting national chairman who has already left in his car. But what we are experiencing here is that this place has returned to calm. The policemen on ground are ensuring that there is no breakdown of law and order. And the acting national chairman actually made his way to the office of the chairman of the party, where he was received by the national secretary of the party and a couple of others who were on ground to welcome him. And the chairman himself made some remarks. Of course, we'll be talking about the remarks. Listen.
So, Joshua, the factional chairman who earlier today, emerged, you just talked about the fact that he made some remarks. So what more did he have to say?
Well, the acting national chairman was saddened by the entire crisis rocking the party because he made mention of that. And he said that it is time for the party to move on and stick with the constitution. He said the party was going to study the constitution and perhaps go in the direct line of the constitution, saying there is no ground for impunity in the party, as well as they will be reaching out to stakeholders of the party to ensure that the party moves to the desired place it desires as a party. And he also said that he is extending an olive branch to all agreed members of the party to come join hands to make sure the party moves to a permanent place in Nigerian politics. And he also said that the party is here under the orders of nobody because it's here to serve everybody. And that was what received by some of the party members who were on ground to welcome him.
All right, Joshua Murray, thank you for the update. Definitely will be on the lookout for more updates from there. Now let's go to electoral matters. After Saturday's local government election and the ongoing collation of results, anticipation remains high in Niger State as voters await the official announcement of winners and the issuance of certificates of return. News Central's Sagi Rhyme is standing by live from the headquarters of the Niger State Independent Electoral Commission in Minna, the state capital. Sagi Rhyme, what's the current status of the process where you are in Minna?
Oh, good afternoon, Blessings. We're here currently in front of the headquarters of the Niger State Independent Electoral Commission. This is supposed to be the location where the final announcement of results from the local government election is supposed to happen. We've been here since 9 a.m. and not so much activity has, been going on. Expectedly, we're supposed to witness the certificate of return being issued to the winners of the polls today. But at this moment, since 9 a.m., not much activity has been going on, save for the fact that, of course, we saw some vehicles go in, which we confirmed to be that of the state commissioners in the State Independent Electoral Commission, as well as the chairman. So far, we've not heard so much in terms of when exactly or when precisely the issuance of the certificate of return is going to be done, but we stay here and we're keeping the vigil to see when that is going to take place.
So we understand certificates of return are expected to be issued today. What's the update on that as well?
Well, we continue to wait for it, honestly. We've been trying to follow up to know exactly what time it would start. They had initially told us that it would start by 10 a.m. We tried confirming this time from the PRO of the Niger State Independent Electoral Commission. Sadly, he has not, been forthcoming, as he has been unreachable via phone. We also tried, of course, reaching out to the chairman himself. He has not commented on these issues, and activities here remain just as they are. As you can see behind me, it's just police officers mounted, at the entrance of the building, and just a few individuals coming in and going out. It really doesn't look at this point like a certificate of return ceremony is going to be done, but then we continue to watch to see what the next few hours is going to look like.
So before you go, what do the results look like so far? Does it look like it's tilting in one direction already?
Well, blessings for the results. I would say at this point that your guess would be good as mine, because we've not gotten exact details of what the numbers are looking like from the 25 local governments. One of the challenges that we've had to contend with here is the fact that there's no central information point. So you're not getting so much from the state, Independent Electoral Commission officials, except you're going to the polling unit, to the local government secretariat, to the ward collation centers, where some of the processes were done in full glare of the public. You do not know exactly what is going on in another position or in another local government, save for videos, pictures, and posts on social media. So it has been a big challenge for us, as at this point we do not know precisely which parties won which elections in which local government. We do not know an exact number of whether APC, scored a total number of votes in particular local governments, save for the fact that we were at the Chenchega local government and we got those figures explicitly from that local government. As at this point, there've been no information, particularly officially, as a matter of fact, from the State Independent Commission, giving us a breakdown of what the numbers are looking like in terms of amount of votes scored, by each of the individual parties, and which of the parties won what, aside the announcements done at the local government level. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Zag Ibrahim, thank you so much for the update. Now, the International Press Center has called on citizens to renew trust in Nigeria's electoral process and institutions. This was during a dialogue in Abuja where stakeholders say that the dialogue will provide a platform for journalists, civil society groups, political actors, and citizens to exchange ideas on how to rebuild public confidence in elections and electoral institutions. Now, our correspondent, Blessing Akibe, is at the venue to give us more details. Blessing, I would like to find out what is the focus of the main event?
Good morning, good afternoon, blessings. All right, the main focus of this event was actually focus on rebuilding trust among citizens regarding the electoral institutions, the electoral processes. I have one of my guests that can actually elaborate, or rather give us more details on this. So, sir, sorry, sir.
My name is Achike Chude. I'm the National Secretary of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ.
Okay, so tell us, what is the focus of this event today?
Well, it's an event that is put together by the International Press Center. It's an event that involves mainly journalists, the media, the fourth estate of the realm. Now you have a few civil society organizations here, but it's mainly a media event, and I think it's all about the challenge of building trust in the country's elections. So what it tells you, if you are talking about building trust or rebuilding trust, it means that something has gone wrong somewhere, and that we need to retrace our steps towards having a renewed trust in the electoral process, because we need to get Nigerians to come out. We need to get them to participate. Well, we know that in the last general election in 2023, there was a lot of disappointments all around. So one aspect of this, like I said, is to see how we can galvanize, the media can play a role in galvanizing public trust for the electoral process. And then two, I believe that the IPC is set to sign a memorandum of understanding between the NAWAJ, the Association of Female Journalists in Nigeria, under the aegis of the NUJ, and then GOCOP, the Guild of Online Publishers of Nigeria. So I think that is good. When you look at the role that these bodies have to play, especially in the area of inclusivity, the area of fake media, at this time, because of course we know the importance of ensuring that the kind of news that is reflected in the public space is one that is trustworthy and one that is responsible. So that's what this event is all about.
So what are the key findings, like recommendations that are actually improve citizens' trust and participation in the electoral process?
I believe all the findings, I think the IPC, went around the entire country, the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, to get the opinions of citizens. And of course, there were issues around accountability. There were issues around making sure that INEC is properly funded at all times. Even though in the we've gone through the issue of a first-line charge. INEC now gets money directly, from the government as a first-line charge, but sometimes this money do not get to them on time. Then there is the issue of better policing, better security, around the electoral process. Then there is the issue of, issues like even the appointment of the chairman of INEC also came up, but then again, that has been overtaken by event. The new chairman of INEC has been appointed by the president. And then there are the issues of inclusivity, making sure that vulnerable members of the society are also involved in the electoral process. So these are some of the key issues, in this event. Thank you.
So, majority of the stakeholders are also calling for a stronger collaboration between the media, civil society actors, and even the electoral institution, which is the INEC, in order to improve citizens' electoral culture and democracy resilience in the country.
All right. Blessing, thank you so much for the update on that, and it's a very good initiative to see. Thank you. Now, tension flared in Lagos on Monday as residents of Oworonshoki community took to the streets to protest the ongoing and planned demolition of their homes. The protesters, carrying placards and chanting solidarity songs, accused the authorities of rendering families homeless without adequate notice or resettlement plans. Their demonstration, however, was short-lived as police operatives moved in to disperse the crowd and restore order. The Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Wadata, had earlier deployed personnel to the area to prevent any breakdown of law and order. News Central's correspondent Israel Iferobo, who has been following this story and is on ground now, brings us the update. Good afternoon, Israel. What's the situation at the Oworonshoki area, at the moment?
Blessings. Good afternoon to you. This is the scene of a supposed planned protest by the residents of this area that have been affected by the planned demolition and demolition process that have been ongoing for some time now. So the protesters gathered not too far away from here, and before today, the Commissioner of Police, CP Wadata.
All right, hopefully you'll be able to come back to Israel to give us more updates on the Oworonshoki demolition situation. We go on a short break now. You're still live with us on the 12 Report. When we come back, more stories. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, traditional leaders in Egbeda community, Emuaha local government area of River State, are calling on the state and federal government, as well as security agencies, to caution the Emuaha council chairman against actions they say could spark a communal crisis. News Central's Biola Festas reports.
Egbeda community in Emuaha local government area of River State prides itself as the most popular single indigenous community within the Ikwere ethnic nationality, one of the largest groups in the state. Here, culture and tradition run deep.
Members of Egbeda community use as CDC executives will not subject themselves to Chief Honorable decision imposing on Egbeda community use and community development committee CDC executives. They are the concept government recognized second-class traditional.
Recently, the Emuaha Council chairman embarked on the reconstruction of community development committees, a move that triggered uproar among community members and reportedly led to the death of one person within a week. Fearing a repeat of such violence, Egbeda residents gathered at the town square to express their opposition, describing the council's move as alien to their customs and way of life.
Honorable Chief, the law is praising intervention in our traditional governance is morally mess, politically unready, and offensive, culturally illicit, legally unlawful, socially unacceptable, and provocative. We must arise to resist it legitimately.
The community leaders insist that those appointed by the council chairman are not recognized by the people and warn that the decision could plunge the community into crisis if not reversed.
By appointing the stooges to head the CDC and Youth Council of Egbeda, it then means that the traditional institutions are not aware, it didn't have any recourse to the traditional institutions. That means that if you do that, you are calling for anarchy, you are calling for insecurity.
For clarity, the traditional custodians have represented their own list of individuals profiled and recommended by the community to serve as members of the Community Development Committee and youth executives. In Rivers, for News Central, Biola Festas.
All right, thanks for the update, Biola, on that very carefully put together report. Now we go back to the Oworonshoki demolition crisis that we're currently reporting on, and we have my colleague, our correspondent, News Central's Israel Iforobo, who is at Iyanawuru at the moment, giving us an update of the situation. Israel, we understand that canisters of tear gas were released, and you were giving us an update on the situation earlier. What's the situation with the tear gas? What's the veracity of that claim?
Well, absolutely. You've taken the story to another dimension right now. Yes, indeed, the protesters, they gathered at a place not too far away from the popular beggar, bus stop, like some may call it, not too far away from here. They gathered there, moving away from where they initially thought that they will gather. Where you see right now is a popular bus stop. This was where information reached that they will be gathering, and that's why if you take a look around, this bus stop is not looking like it used to be on a regular day, and that is because the police operative here, they cordoned off this area to ensure that no vehicular activity, no bus stop activity is happening here today, to ensure that there is no semblance of convergence of people whatsoever. So they moved the protest further down the road, and that's where the situation escalated. Remember, these people here are protesting and asking questions about why their houses here, their livelihoods were destroyed. were demolished by the authorities. Also, do remember that some were compensated, but some other people that we spoke to said they were not compensated, alleging that those that were compensated were only those that were loyal to the authorities. Yes, indeed, they gathered, and there was the release of canisters of tear gas by men of the police operatives to ensure that there is no sort of disturbances in the area. Well, that's one of the situation that we can report right now. Another thing that we can also reliably confirm to you at this point in time, we have just been told by the Commissioner of Police, who is just over there. Yeah, he's just over there on your screen right now, yeah, with his men. He did say to us earlier, about 30 minutes ago, that about 13 of the protesters were apprehended, and they have been taken away. And he also did sound a note of warning to the AAC presidential aspirant in the last elections, Omoyele Sowore, that he is now a wanted man. According to the CP, he was in the that they are closing in on Sowore for this arrest, that he is the one who instigated this, and he was around making videos and making comments here and there about this particular protest that they plan for today in this particular area. So that is so much that we know right now. The Commissioner of Police here has declared that Omoyele Sowore is now a wanted man, and this is the much that we have gathered so far here on this protest that is happening here today at Iyanaworo. Blessings.
All right, Israel Everbo, thank you for the update. We'll see how this whole process turns out, and the demolition as well. Thank you once again. Nigeria's education sector is taking a major step towards strengthening research and innovation. The Federal Ministry of Education has launched the African Centers of Excellence Alliance and unveiled the ACE Compendium in selecting universities across the country. The event, held in Abuja, brought together education stakeholders, researchers and development partners committed to driving collaboration across Africa's higher institutions. And now our correspondent Samia Abubakar is at the venue and joins us live for more details. Samia, to start with, what exactly is the Africa Center for Excellence Alliance? What is that meant to do? What's the significance of that?
Good afternoon, Blessings. Yes, currently we are at the NUC headquarters in Abuja, and I would say, before even explaining what the ACE Alliance is, behind us right here, you would see, an exhibition happening about, this whole event, and people are coming here to see and to showcase what this great thing is all about. Now, of course, the African Center for Excellence Alliance is something that brought together African countries in order to prioritize, specialize in research and development. Now, this is one of the major concerns and issues being raised in African continent, saying that we don't do our own research to solve our own problems. So in terms of education, this is something that has been launched probably today to start. Now, this, of course, involves the using of this alliance to universities in major, universities in Nigeria. Now, one of the universities that is being used is Obafemi Awolowo University. There's about, they teach the ICT, it's all about the ICT drive knowledge. We have University of Port Harcourt Center for Oil Field Chemicals Research. We have Ahmadu Bello University, neglected tropical diseases and forensic technology. Also, University of Benin, University of Bayero, Benue, Abuja, Imo. I'm talking about multiple universities here that they decided to pick up, courses that would be put there. Now, for specifics, this is all about postgraduate. So we're talking about people getting masters and PhD, and of course, doing their research. And this research is something that should be used, to create impact in the society. So this is what the ACE Alliance stands for.
So we also understand the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, led the unveiling. What were some of the key points that he emphasized in his address?
Yes, absolutely. The minister spoke about, the importance of this alliance coming right now at a time where he pointed out specifically, Nigerian universities does not make the court of the top 100 or even 200 of best universities globally. So he said this is an initiative that would help Nigeria push forward, which even cited example of Egypt, a state, a country that has moved forward in this ranking. So he's hoping that Nigeria will move forward with that. Like I said, there's a lot. This has to do with, global. This has to do with, I beg your pardon, standards of education. There's a lot of training, innovation, and research. So he pointed out that this is really important for Nigeria and it should be done. He also pointed out that we should have, international students come into Nigeria, not just have the locals alone. Hybrid would help us not only learn, education, but we learn even cultures of people, and that would make us more versatile. So if there is, of course, infiltration of international students, that we know that there will be infiltration of, international researchers and lecturers that would come and give their own quota to the education sector. Now, he also said that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has given a verbal approval of, diversifying research funding, which he said that so far there is, he has agreed for a national research development fund. Now, this is a robustly funded. This has nothing to do with appropriation, but it's about the Ministry of Education, partners, creating awareness and getting funds in order to have a research center in Nigeria.
All right, Samia Abubakar, thank you for the update on that. And we see that the ACE is a good initiative, and we're hoping that they follow through properly with this. Thank you. Now, talks on China-Africa cooperation are gaining momentum as experts push for a clear and deliberate strategy to strengthen ties under the Belt and Road Initiative. News Central's Victor Mbadike reports.
For over 3 decades, Africa has been central to China's growth and development story. That partnership is deepening, with both sides emphasizing mutually beneficial win-win cooperation. At the latest forum on China-Africa cooperation, stakeholders discussed expanding collaboration in infrastructure, manufacturing, transport and energy. Speakers said the goal is to deepen understanding and accelerate sustainable development across both regions.
The problem that Africa has is the weakness of its own leaders, the weakness of its own bureaucracy. If people come to your country and you cannot negotiate properly with them, or you negotiate in such a way that you are the primary beneficiary, there's nothing the other country will do. Every country has a capacity for exploitation. So if you don't stand up to them, they will take as much as they can take. So it is the development of a resistance, a bureaucratic political resistance, that can stop any country from exploiting you.
Now, African agency has improved, and African governments are now saying, yeah, we would like to trade with you. We are aware the balance of trade, my paper I mentioned, is less than, the deficit is less than with others. But the structural imbalance is a challenge where we are exporting raw materials and importing finished goods. So African governments are now saying that let the processing happen here. Let the mineral processing happen here. And that's exactly what's happening in Morocco with lithium batteries, in Nigeria assembling electric vehicles, in Ethiopia. But we need to do more, and we need to demand more from China, as we see that China is a willing development partner.
They believe continued dialogue will strengthen ties and drive shared prosperity.
What we need to do now is to formulate astute policies in terms of resource sustainability, in terms of resource security, in whatever relationship we are entering to with any country in Africa. And I think Africans should begin to prioritize our relationship with these superpowers and the emerging economies.
2 decades after the first forum on China-Africa cooperation, the conversation has moved beyond promises to practical steps aimed at transforming opportunities into lasting progress for both sides. In Lagos, for News Central, Victor Mbadike.
Now to business. The federal government has launched an action plan to raise crude oil production to 3 million barrels per day and gas output to 12 billion cubic feet daily by 2030, following resolutions from NOG Energy Week 2025 in Abuja. Now, the event gathered over 6,000 participants, 250 exhibitors, and 125 speakers. NNPC CEO Bashir Bayo Ojulari revealed $17 billion in new investments in 2024, projected to hit $30 billion by 2027 and $60 billion by 2030. He confirmed 10% crude pipeline availability and progress on the AKK gas pipeline. Stakeholders emphasized local capacity gas monetization and technology domestication to achieve energy independence. The South African rand strengthened 0.2% to 17.2950 per dollar on Monday, ahead of key economic data releases, including October's manufacturing PMI and vehicle sales. The ABSA PMI, due at 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. rather, is expected to ease to 51.0 from 52.2, remaining in expansionary territory, according to Investec economist Lara Hodes, who cited weak domestic activity and structural challenges. Vehicle sales data, due around 12 p.m., are projected to stay robust, supported by lower interest rates, reduced debt costs, and subdued prices. Nedbank economists said government bonds were steady, with 2035 yield dipping slightly by 0.5 basis points to 8.86%. And now coming up on the news, Samia Suluhu Hassan sworn in as Tanzania's president amid deadly unrest. We'll bring you the details after the break. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now let's talk politics. In East Africa, Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu Hassan has been sworn in for her first elected term after a controversial vote marred by violence and opposition exclusion. The Electoral Commission declared Hassan a winner with 97.6% of the vote, following an election that sparked deadly protests nationwide. Now, the opposition party, Chadema, claims hundreds were killed during demonstrations, while the UN Human Rights Office cites credible reports of at least 10 deaths across 3 cities. The government has dismissed the opposition's figures as exaggerated, insisting the election was peaceful and lawful. And in Sudan, tens of thousands of Sudanese civilians are fleeing intensifying violence as the conflict moves east from Darfur. Now, according to the UN's migration agency, more than 36,000 people have fled 5 areas in North Kordofan after the Rapid Support Forces captured El Fasher, the army's last major stronghold in the region, just over a week ago. The exodus underscores the deepening humanitarian crisis as fighting spreads beyond Darfur. Aid groups warn of acute shortages of food, water, and shelter, while access for humanitarian workers remains severely restricted. The United Nations is urging both sides to establish safe corridors to reach civilians trapped by the conflict across Sudan. Ugandan authorities have condemned coordinated attacks on security posts in the country's western region that left several people dead. Meanwhile, the Uganda Defense Forces condemned attempts to disrupt national peace, assuring citizens the situation is under control with extra troops deployed to maintain stability. News Central's Morgani Ziba reports.
Residents in western Uganda woke up to panic and grief on Saturday morning after deadly coordinated attacks in Kasese and Budibuyo districts. Security officials say at least 20 suspected panga welding assailants were killed after attempting to overrun police army posts.
15 have been arrested, including the woman. 5 injured our own, and 5 were put out of action. We are armed with pangas, knives, herbs, and the categories.
The Uganda's People Defense Forces and police swiftly repelled the attacks, killing or capturing several suspects. Pursuit operations are ongoing across the Rwenzori sub-region to track down any remaining militants.
What I would like only to state is that more arrests are still going on. We are still in the middle of the operation. We'd also like to report that among us, the security agencies, police will register some casualties, but we shall be giving you the actual numbers in due course.
The attacks have revived memories of 2014 clashes that left more than 100 people dead in similar coordinated assaults. Analysts say the violence may reflect deeper links, with reports suggesting collaboration between allied democratic forces and Al-Shabaab.
People of Kasese, the people of Uganda, this kind of attack, this kind of behavior that you will attack people who are peaceful, you will attack government, you will not succeed and you will never succeed at all.
Security forces have since stepped up patrols and roadblocks, urging residents to stay calm and cooperate as investigations continue. For News Central, Wongani Sizila.
And now, outside the shores of Africa, at least 23 people have been killed in a massive explosion at a supermarket in northern Mexico. Investigators say the blast may have been triggered by a faulty electrical transformer. State prosecutor Gustavo Salas confirmed that most of the victims died from the toxic gas inhalation, while 12 others were injured and are receiving treatment in nearby hospitals. The explosion occurred in the city of Hermosillo, with authorities emphasizing that early findings suggest it was accidental. Officials say investigations are ongoing to confirm the cause of the blast.
Ocurrida en la tienda Waldos de la Colonia Centro en Hermosillo ha dejado una profunda tristeza en todas y todos los sonorenses. Hasta el momento se tiene el registro de 23 personas fallecidas, 11 lesionadas que están siendo atendidas en diferentes hospitales de la ciudad. Lamentablemente, entre las víctimas se encuentran menores de edad. A las familias, apoyo y cercanía. He instruido a todas las dependencias del gobierno del Estado a brindar acompañamiento integral, atención médica, psicológica y social. Nadie enfrentará este dolor en soledad. Desde los primeros momentos, he ordenado una investigación exhaustiva y transparente para esclarecer las causas del siniestro y determinar las responsabilidades que correspondan. Lo haremos con seriedad, con verdad y con justicia.
Now, what is going on in Tanzania? After the recent national election, tensions are now running high. President Samia Suluhu Hassan has been declared the winner with a massive 97% of the vote, a figure that raises questions when viewed against the backdrop of barred opposition figures, restricted political participation, and widespread protests that have shaken the country since Election Day. Now, initially celebrated for her soft tone and promises of reform when she became president in 2021, President Samia Suluhu Hassan's leadership now stands as a crucial crossroad. Her early moves hinted at openness. She lifted bans on media outlets, engaged with rival political voices, promised to break away from the stronger arm tactics of previous administrations. But the latest events now suggest a pivot back toward more forceful control. In the run-up to the polls, for example, major opposition leaders were reportedly blocked or detained, and critics alleged to have been muted, making it difficult to call the contest fully open or fully competitive. Now, in the aftermath of the vote, protests erupted in several cities. Youths, activists, frustrated citizens took to the streets, calling the election unfair. The response was swift and very intense. Troops were deployed, curfews imposed, internet access disrupted in parts of the country that a lot of people can attest to. Reports and images circulating online show long standoffs between civilians and security forces. Now, while the government maintains that order is necessary, many citizens feel silenced and cornered. For many, the irony is uncomfortable. The woman once seen as a symbol of renewed hope and responsible leadership is now being accused of tightening the reins of power. But it's important to note, though, that while the sentiment on the ground is heated, the full story is still unfolding, and we'll get to find out more about that. That's your postscript. Now, before we go, let's take a look at what's happening in the sporting world. Nigeria's sole representative in the CAF Champions League is set to know their fate today as the group stage draw takes place in Johannesburg.
Hi, Blessings. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I hope you're doing well. Today in the game, definitely we'll be taking a look at what the fate of Rivers United is going to be. For the first time in 8 years, we have a Nigerian side who has made it to the group stages of the CAF Champions League. And also we'll be reviewing all the important games that went on during the weekend. So all that and more in the game.
All right, you've heard from Okpe Adibari. Stay tuned on In the Games for more. That's all on the 12 report today. Remember, you may send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. And do not follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. Now, you can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Go TV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Mosugu.